Hey fellow pirates, Explorer Idra here, and today we are going to be looking at the massive new update that came out to Salt 2 on April 25th, 2023. So without further ado, let's jump into today's video, shall we? And now as you can see from the Steam page notes here, this game just went through a massive update that gave us a bunch of awesome quality of life improvements, as well as some new features. I'm not going to be able to cover them all off here in this video, you guys. I'm just going to touch base on some of the more important ones, the ones that really stand out, and the rest you guys can check out on the Steam page. Alright, so the first and most obvious thing that I'm going to cover off in this update, you guys, is going to be the skill talent trees. The developers have added in for all of slashing, bludgeoning, piercing, and archery skills now have an associated talent tree. The way it works is that for every 5 skill levels within each of those separate combat skills, you will now get 1 point to be able to spend on different abilities. These things will cover off anywhere from extra damage from your weapons to being able to get crits more often, to even in your archery tree where you can retrieve arrows that you've used on taking down enemies. And should you find that you've spent points that you later on decide that you want to change and put into something else, we've also got the ability to reset those talents just using a different type of tier potion. So moving on from the talents, let's talk about some of the new content that's been added into the game. The next time you jump into your game and open up your map, you'll be able to notice that there have been merchant ships and outpost islands that have been added to it. These will bring a whole bunch of new quests for you to be able to explore and complete. And so your merchant ship is going to have, well, you guessed it, a merchant. I'm going to recommend that you guys probably hit up the merchant ship first, because when you do, you're going to talk to the merchant and they're going to give you a quest to run items to a nearby outpost island, which is effectively going to start that quest chain for you. Complete enough quests for this High Seas Trading Company member, and you will be given access to some unique items that he has for sale. And now while you're out questing and taking on enemies, you'll be able to notice that there's been a new mechanic added into the game, which is blocking. And so when a creature comes in to attack and you block, it mitigates 100% of the damage provided that you've got enough stamina. So just make sure to keep an eye on that little green bar in the bottom left corner of your screen. And we've also had a new weapon added into the game in the form of daggers for you to be able to choose to take on your enemies with. And sailing has also been updated to feel a little bit more realistic, with the boats being able to rock side to side while you're out on the waves. And if you're somebody who gets motion sickness, well then the developers have also added in an ability to be able to turn this off. And so now we'll talk about the changes to food within the game of Salt 2. Previously, all food items, cooked and raw, all had spoil timers associated to them. They would go from ripe to edible to barely edible to rotten. Now the game is set up so that only cooked food will spoil. All of your raw ingredients to make your cooked food no longer spoil, and they are now stackable. And when you jump back into the game for the first time, you will notice that you will still have a whole lot of your foods that will be individually stacked within your inventory. To fix this, just simply go into a chest, something on your ship, and deposit all the items into there, and they'll stack, and then you can retrieve them as you see fit. And as you guys saw from the patch notes in the beginning of this video, there have been a ton of improvements and fixes to help give this game a little bit more of a polished feeling and some quality of life improvements. Everything from being able to see the name of the area that you've entered into in the top left of your screen, whether it be an encampment or a cave, all the way to being able to see and tell the different colors of your critical hits versus your stealth attack damages now. As well as when you open up chests to collect items, they no longer just stack on the far right screen and basically go over top of each other where you can't see the items anymore. Now it pops up a separate window when you open a chest. You can see all the items that you have looted from said chest, and you can close out that window. And then from there, they've also added in fall damage. So previously you could jump from almost any height and basically take next to no fall damage when you hit the ground. Now, however, and I tested this out, when you jump from different heights and you hit the ground, you'll actually take fall damage. I tested this by jumping off the end of my ship when I pulled up onto an island, and just from that little height, I actually took a little bit of a chunk out of my health bar. This has added in a bit of a more realism feel to the game, as well as a bit of a consequence now for if you decide to just go willy-nilly and jump off of stuff. So a very neat little improvements that developers have done behind the scenes and a little bit in the foreground as well too, just to help add to the quality of the game. So with all these amazing features to this latest update, well, what's your favorite one? Drop a comment down below and let me know. As well as let me know what you're still hoping to see from the game going forward for future updates and developments. And with that, you guys, if you're looking to score some beginner tips for this game, then be sure to click on the video that you see on your screen at the end of this one. Hope you guys all have an awesome day. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll catch you in the next one.